All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at a classic children's tale that, believe it or not, secretly contains a profound masterclass on executive presence, self-esteem, and building personal confidence. Often the absolute most powerful lessons about our professional and personal lives come from the simplest stories. So, we're going to explore the story of a hardworking character who transforms his entire reality. And the kicker? He doesn't do it by working harder. He does it by completely changing how he views himself. Okay, picture this high-stakes scenario for a second. You've got three huge lions standing directly in front of you. There is absolutely nowhere to run. What is your gut reaction? Do you just break down and cry, or do you force yourself to come up with a clever idea? Think of this as the ultimate metaphor for those moments of seemingly impossible workplace pressure or intense social scrutiny. When you are backed into a corner and the stakes are just incredibly high, how do you respond? Well, that is exactly the situation our protagonist finds himself in, and honestly, his response is something we can all learn a lot from. So, that brings us to Section 1, the hard work trap, and why just grinding away isn't enough to gain respect. Our story begins with a poor, diligent donkey named Balu. Now, Balu is the ultimate grinder. He carries heavy sacks of grain all day long. But look at the stark contrast between his physical reality and his social reality. Instead of getting any gratitude for his massive effort, he's just bombarded with insults. The shopkeepers laugh at him, they call him a slow fool. It's a pretty brutal reality, but it's one that a lot of people face, right? The hard truth that hard work alone does not automatically command respect from the people around you. And those cruel words, they really pierce Blue's heart. One evening, he's completely exhausted, deeply hurt, and he just walks over to a quiet tree, sits down slowly, and for the very first time, he breaks down and cries. He actually asks out loud, "Why does everyone think I am a fool?" Let's pause and reflect on that for a second. Honestly, how often do we act exactly like Baloo in our own careers? We carry the heavy loads, we work ourselves to the bone, and we just wait for someone to notice and hand us the respect we feel we've earned. And then, we feel crushed when it doesn't happen.
Which perfectly transitions us to Section 2, the secret to gaining respect, and a little mentor's wisdom.
So Blue's tears are interrupted by this kind pigeon who drops a hard truth on him. The world only respects confidence. The pigeon points Blue toward a wise fox named Viku. Blue finds him, pours his heart out, and asks if wanting respect is just too much to ask. Now listen closely to the distinction Viku makes here. He says respect is not given to those who only work hard. It is given to those who believe in themselves. Wow. Viku totally shatters Blue's worldview. He tells the donkey, "You are what you believe you are." It's an incredible lesson on executive presence. You can't just do the work. You have to fundamentally believe in your own inherent value. Moving right along to Section 3, mastering fear under pressure. Because Baloo is about to get a massive test of his newly forming self-esteem. On his way home, boom, Baloo suddenly encounters Shira, a massive, dangerous lion. Now this is the ultimate metaphor for a terrifying challenge, like a difficult boss or an intimidating, high-stakes presentation. Luckily, Vico had given Baloo a strict mental framework for this exact scenario. Step 1, don't panic. Step 2, stay calm. Step 3, use your mind. This is such a highly actionable framework for regulating your emotions when danger, pressure, or that overwhelming imposter syndrome strikes. You absolutely have to short-circuit the body's natural flight response. Okay, so let's see how Baloo actually applies this. Imagine the tension in the forest right now. Baloo hears these slow, heavy, extremely dangerous footsteps right behind him. The predator is literally creeping up. Baloo's initial thought is just pure panic. Oh no, this is the end. If I run, I'm dead. But wait, Vigu's training kicks in. Baloo's racing mind just stops. He commands himself to stay calm. He commands himself to think. He actively decides not to bolt in terror, but instead, he applies that 3-step emotional regulation framework in real time, right as the lion is ready to pounce. And out of nowhere, Baloo pulls off this brilliant idea. He speaks out loud to himself saying, "My hunger isn't over yet, one more lion will be perfect." So the crucial takeaway here is this entirely counterintuitive bluff. By claiming he eats lions, Baloo completely rewrites the power dynamic in an instant. Hearing this, Shira the lion physically freezes. The lion is thinking, wait, a donkey that eats lions? No way. Terrified of becoming a meal, Shira turns and runs away as fast as he possibly can.
But the story definitely doesn't end there. Section 4, the power of confident action. It's time to double down on the bluff. Get this. Viku the fox had actually been watching the whole encounter, and to push Balu's confidence even further, Viku intercepts the trembling lion and completely exposes the donkey's trick. Viku forced Shira to come back and prove the truth, bringing a very angry, very embarrassed lion right back to confront Balu. So now, Balu is caught, but instead of cowering, he relies on his newfound executive presence. He looks right at the fox and says, "Only one lion? I asked for two." Just think about the sheer audacity of demanding a second lion. Balu entirely overwhelms his opponent's logic by leaning into the bluff with even more confidence. Balu unleashes what has to be the ultimate fake-it-till-you-make-it strategy. He scolds the lion for bringing only one offering. He threatens to eat Shira right there on the spot. And his final demand? That the lions serve as his royal guards? I mean, it is so absurd and so incredibly confident that the lion's brain just breaks. Without wasting a single second, the terrified Shira runs back into the forest and literally returns with 2 more nervous lions in tow. And that brings us to our final section, True Strength is Mental and the Triumphant Return. So, Balu marches into the previously mocking village, flanked by 3 massive, terrified lions, just holding their heads down. And for the very first time in his life, Balu stands tall and proud. He looks at the panicking villagers who used to mock him and delivers this profound moment of self-advocacy. He says, "Now do you see who I am? I am not a fool. I am strong. I am brave. I am smart." And then, with total confidence, he orders the lions to go back to the forest and never return, which they eagerly do, running away in pure fear. The villagers are absolutely stunned. They immediately apologize, telling Balu they were wrong. He isn't just hardworking, he's incredibly wise. Because, as this story beautifully illustrates, true strength is not in muscles or endless grinding. It isn't about physical force or fear. True strength is in the mind. It's rooted in self-belief, cleverness, and executive presence. When you truly, genuinely believe in yourself, even the strongest obstacles are going to yield to you. Balu finally found the love and respect he always deserved, simply by changing his internal narrative. So, I want to leave you with this final thought and a bit of a challenge. Take a look at your own life, your own career, and your own endless to-do list. Are you just carrying heavy sacks of grain, hoping someone will eventually notice your worth? When will you stop waiting for the world to hand you respect and start actually believing in yourself? Because as our brave little donkey proved, the moment you decide your own value, the rest of the world has absolutely no choice but to agree.